If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Ladies and gentlemen, bench warmers, it is March. It is that time. You can tell by my voice. It's been a big content week. We did our NCAA wrestling tournament bonus video last night. I did with Hunter Mullins. That was awesome. Thank you for checking that out. If you're one of the people who tuned in, I've been saying that we have this show coming up. We have our special guest. Niko has made his return. He is feeling well enough now that he's going to be back on the show. Big thanks to Jordan for filling in. This now makes you a 3-time. You're the first back-to-back-to-back guest appearance on the podcast. Darren, I don't know how you feel about that. Jordan kind of came in and he's swooping in and stealing all the accolades. He might be going in the Benchwarmer Hall of Fame before you even. And we've known you longer. But I appreciate you boys being here. And it's going to be a fun night, as you can tell. Niko's basically going to be the encyclopedia of basketball knowledge, and I'm here to bring the levity.
The past 2 weeks, I had surgery on the 4th. Luckily, hopefully I don't sound like Kermit the Frog anymore, because it sounded like I had a frog in my throat the past 2 weeks. But yeah, it's good to be back. I've been watching a stupid amount of basketball. That's what I've been doing. Literally laying in bed, drinking fucking ice cubes and ice cream for 2 weeks. I watched basketball like a damn degenerate the last 2 weeks. So I'd like to think that I know two things, but then again, my bracket will probably not make it past the first weekend. So who knows? But you know what? That's the best part, and that's why we love March. So as they say in the basketball world, there's nothing like March Madness. This is March.
Yeah, no, and we have a lot of great things coming just with this episode in general. So if you as you follow along, we're going to go region by region. We'll talk about different parts of the tournament. I'm going to get into the business side of things and let everybody talk about their stuff, and I'll let Jordan introduce himself also. But if you have anything to say about any of our takes, be sure to let us know in the chat, in the comments. We'll put those up on the screen. We'll discuss as well. Jordan, like I said, you're back now. Thank you for filling in when Niko was out of commission, but it's good to have you here, and it's nice to be able to talk a little bit about some basketball. We've been doing a lot more Bengals and a lot more NFL content, I feel like, for the last few weeks. Sorry, Niko. I haven't been talking about the Broncos very much. I've been talking a majority Bengals.
I don't want to talk about the Broncos, so I am completely fine with it. Go ahead. I'm glad you got it out. Because I do not want to talk about football. Right now. I probably won't even in the fall. So, but I'll have to, because it'll be the only thing we have going on. So, I think I'll be okay with missing out on it.
Jordan, how you doing tonight?
We're doing good. It's a little bit later here on the East Coast. We're rocking a 10:30 p.m. time. It's a little bit colder than I want it to be. I want to punch that groundhog in the face. It was just snowing here 2 days ago here in Ohio, so definitely doesn't feel like spring yet. How we doing, boys?
We had our big snow last week. We had about 14 inches drop in certain places, 28 inches in others. So it was a big, heavy, wet snow. It was like a big spring storm. That was all the moisture that we're going to get for like a whole month. Darren, you're tuning in from the other side of the country, Pacific time. You actually gain an hour on all of us, so we can feel about that how we want.
I'll tell my wife that so she feels better about it. I'll tell her that I get. Yeah, that's the key. I gained an hour.
This is why we love you guys, because we know that you are putting us and our bench warmers and the sports fans above your families. You guys have families. Niko and I don't have families.
And just to rub it in, I did get sunburned.
This is my family.
I got sunburned this week, and you guys are talking about.
This is my family for the month of March, right here.
I got a little bit of sun the other day.
I got sunburned this week, Jimmy. PE, I told you, Spirit Week, baby. I'm still in. I got one more week, then I get break. I got one more week. I'm
enjoying the hell out of my break right now. And Niko, I don't know if you listened last week. Jordan is a state champion basketball coach. He won the Ohio State the Division II, right? It was the Division II state championship on Saturday.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I see you.
That ring.
Jordan may know more hoop tin me then. It looks like Jordan may know ball. I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Jordan. I wasn't familiar with your game.
No,
Not bad.
You're good, buddy.
Obviously, this is going to be a great episode, and we've all members of Variety Sports. talking the gridiron, Darren and Jordan and I, and we are continuing that in the off season. Niko and I finally getting back after he's feeling better after his surgery and everything like that. It is the time of year where everything is happening. Playoffs are right around the corner, so we have those coming up. But obviously, the tournament starts. Wrestling tournament, basketball tournament. It's already going on. I am gonna get. I gotta get ESPN pulled up and see. Does anybody have offhand? Has the game started yet? Is the CU play-in game started yet?
At halftime right now. CU's up by 2.
Okay. CSU did win their play-in game yesterday, so I am proud of that. I picked that correctly in my bracket. As I mentioned, we're going to kind of go region by region, and we'll be able to hit everything. And then we're going to talk Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and National Championship, and how certain teams get where they are. Of course, I'm looking at my bracket. I don't know about you all. I'm looking at the bracket that I'm doing for the network challenge. I'm sure people are doing more than one bracket. This is my 11th bracket. Like I mentioned, I did all 10 wrestling brackets with the Wrestlebacks. So I'm a little bit sick of brackets if you want to know the entirety of it, but I'm pushing through. I'm persevering for everybody, and I'm sure that you guys are all going to appreciate it. So again, follow along with us wherever you filled your bracket in. Just know, I think you're still able to fill some. If you wanted to create another and be in the VSN, I think you're on the line for like a $25 to $50 home field apparel gift card. If I'm remembering the prizes correctly, if I'm doing a good job of being a good member of Variety Sports Network, be sure to follow at Variety_Sports_. Check out everything that we have going on over there. So the Eastern region, gentlemen, that is UConn. I believe they were the number one overall seed. They are playing Stetson, FAU, Northwestern, San Diego State, UAB as the 5-12, Auburn, Yale, the 4-13, BYU, and Duquesne. We'll definitely have to talk about that one. Illinois, Morehead State, the 3-14, Washington State and Drake, Iowa State, and South Dakota State. So I guess we can start with the Big East being kind of the big dog on the block. That was the conference tournament everybody was excited for. They only get 3 teams in. Granted, UConn does look like they could possibly be a team that is on a track to a repeat performance and win back-to-back national championships. They look really good all the way through their conference tournament. What do we feel about the seeding? What do we feel about the selection? Why is the Big East only getting 3 bids? Mount West did end up getting 6, but they all kind of got lower seeds. There's a lot of people screaming from a lot of different places. So, Darren, I guess I want to get your perspective first. What do you think about the selections that were made and kind of the seeding and placing of some of these teams, especially when we look at that Eastern region?
Well, it's obviously no shock that Connecticut's there. San Diego State getting thrown to the East Coast was maybe a little bit surprise to me there. It was weird when I'm looking at the East. I know we'll get into our picks later. Like, I don't know if like Auburn's like the easiest matchup for them, like in that. So, we'll get into that. Like, I don't know where like they're playing well. So, like for UConn going forward, I mean, you should handle them, but it's the tournament. So you look ahead to matchups there where something from a size and a defensive perspective. And I love Bruce Pearl there possibly there. The other part with the East that also kind of I'm gonna be looking forward to is that out here in the West, I got to see Washington State play a little bit. They should be able to, I think, beat Drake. I'm not saying they should beat Iowa State. I'm just kind of want to see that game. That's what I guess I more want to say is that Washington State versus Iowa State game. So when I look at that, those are kind of my big takeaways. Auburn, can they give UConn a challenge looking ahead possibly? And that little matchup there between Drake and Washington State.
All right. Niko, I'm going to give you the Duquesne question because I know you got some strong feelings. Duquesne sneaks in as an 11 seed above your GCU Lopes. The Lopes do make the tournament. They won the WAC conference, punched their ticket to the dance. They needed to win, and they got it done. They're playing good ball. That's all you can really ask for. But Duquesne gets the 11 seed, and this is one of those things. The committee, it seemed like it was a little bit arbitrary. This was kind of decided before anything happened, and Duquesne happened to fill a slot that fell into this spot. So what are your feelings on this?
Look, I think Duquesne's a very, very good ball club. I'll get my prediction later. It wasn't more that GCU, GCU the matchup with St. Mary's, which I'll talk about more when we get there, that it's just a very, very tough matchup. And I feel like we deserved a higher ranking considering how good of a season we had. That's why I was upset with the 11th ranking for Duquesne, who had 11 losses on the year when we only had 4 losses on the year. And we were lower level, mid-level conference champions. So that's why it just pissed me off for that. I'm not too worried because Duquesne's obviously a very, very good ball club. But when you look at this East region for me, and I wrote this down in my bracket notes and filling out my bracket, and this thing is this has really killed me the last couple of years, is do not fall in love with conference champions. The top 4 seeds, UConn, Auburn, Illinois, and Iowa State, all 4 won their conference championship. Obviously, Iowa State being Houston, Illinois, I think Wisconsin, UConn winning the Big East. They all won their conference champion. Fun fact, 7 of the last 9 champions in March Madness have not won their conference championship, including UConn last year. Marquette won the Big East tournament to advance. So that's something to take into account. That sometimes teams get hot at the wrong time. Some of these teams got hot at the wrong time. That may be something to take into account. But yeah, this East region, like, look, we'll talk about the right side of the bracket, but I think the left side of the bracket has a lot more teams that in reality should be favorites going into a Final Four versus in a national championship. And obviously it headlines with UConn and the returning players they have. I mean, look, this team lost a lot of guys. And you bring in Cam Spencer from Rutgers, Donovan Clingan, which probably should have been the Big East Player of the Year. It's very, very hard to pick against UConn going all the way, especially when you look at the percentages out there. 25% of brackets, if not more, are going to have UConn win the championship. But it's very, very difficult to repeat. So we'll see when we get there for the rest of our bracket.
That idiot. Yeah,
I
was that dumb guy who hasn't watched just a lick of basketball. But hey, did you look at my bracket before this, Niko? Did you sneak in? I did use the podcast email.
It's not like I don't have UConn going far either, okay? Because they are no doubt one of the best teams in the country. That's why they were the quote-unquote best number 1 team in the whole bracket. But like I said, for the number 1 ranked team, this is not an easy bracket by any means. Like they have some dogs that if they end up facing, it's going to be very, very difficult, especially when you could play two of the other Final Four teams from last year in San Diego State and FAU in the first 2 rounds, which is absolutely crazy to think about.
Jordan, my question for you before we get into our picks for this region, who do you think is the dark horse? Is there any major upset that you see? Is this the region where we get the 12-5? Is this a region where maybe a 2 seed slips and falls? Or is this going to be a lot of chalk? Do you see a dark horse coming out of this East region before we get into our actual game picks?
It just depends who kind of gets hot. I'm sitting here looking at it. Maybe Washington State can make a little bit of noise, come out of the first 2 rounds. But, I've got the pleasure of watching them play a little bit. But, I'm a Big Ten guy. Illinois is in there. Maybe they can make some noise. They are a 3 seed. They did play extremely well in the big tournament. So I think those would be my 2 dark horses outside of just going with UConn all the way. So those would be my big guesses between Washington State and Illinois.
All right. I think it's time. Let's go ahead. We can go quick through this. If we have something to say, we can maybe take a little bit of time, but I'll just kind of go around the horn with each of the games. UConn versus Stetson. I picked the Huskies. I mentioned it. I've already given it away. The Huskies are my national champions. So whenever the Huskies come up, you can win for them. What do we have, Darren? UConn, Stetson. Is this an upset?
UConn, no doubt.
Yeah.
Niko?
Yeah, UConn. Stetson. It's not the 16 versus 1.
Jordan, any different?
It's not even a conversation. UConn in round 1.
Got it. FAU Northwestern. I have the Owls moving on. I think the experience last year helps them. Northwestern, honestly don't know too much. I know Big Ten Wrestling's been really good this year. I've been watching a lot of wrestling. That's what I dedicated my life to. I have the Owls moving forward. Niko, what do you got? Owls or Wildcats?
Northwestern, Boo Booey, one of the most exciting players in the country. I know that's a real name. It's not Boo Boo the Bear.
Boo
Booey. Boo Booey for Northwestern, one of the most exciting players in the country. He's a damn good player, but I'm going to give the experience to FAU. So give me FAU.
Jordan, what do you got?
I've got Northwestern. Northwestern ended up ranking the 5th best defense in the big conference during the regular season play. I got Northwestern in this.
Darren, are you going to split it, or are you going 3-1 FAU over
Should I go
Northwestern?
Jordan's Big Ten bias over here? Should I go Jordan's?
Somebody said it. Somebody said it. Oh my goodness.
I'm actually going Northwestern with it too, so I took Northwestern as well. I'll go
There
with
it is.
I got a Big Ten bias too. We go.
It's easy for you to stay up for all the Big Ten games. It's like 5 o'clock whenever they start.
Big East, I never get. That's the easiest conference to watch.
Yeah. It's like still at school. You can turn it on as like a example for your kids if you wanted to just have an easy day in the afternoon.
Well,
I know this. I know I'm a teacher. I know how to get things done.
there you go.
The 5-12 UAB and San Diego State. San Diego State, another team that had a really big run last year. Mountain West. There was some upsets in the tournament that kind of dropped their seeding a little bit. That's been a conversation I've been hearing, but I did take the Spartans to move forward. I think San Diego State's going to be too much. I don't think UAB, unless they play a perfect game, which can happen. That's something if you run into the right team, and this is a spot in the bracket, a 12-5. Everybody knows that you got to pick at least a couple of those, but I don't think that this is one of them. I picked San Diego State. Darren, I'll go to you first. San Diego State or the Blazers of UAB?
I took San Diego State as well. Basically, yeah, same reasons.
Jordan, what do you got?
I got San Diego State.
Niko, are you making it a clean sweep?
No, this ain't your 12-5. UAB kind of got a cupcake run to win their conference championship. They weren't a team that was going to be in the tournament. They faced the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th seed Temple in their conference championship. Yeah, they're not winning this game. San Diego State's much better.
All right, that's 4 in a row for this is not your 12-5 if you're trying to make a bet or
there will be
anything
one.
Like that.
There's not the one.
There will be one, but this is not it. 4 and 13, Auburn and Yale, the Bulldogs. Hopefully they can get all their homework done. This is going to be like the biggest moment of all these kids' lives. I'm glad that they got their swag bag, and that's all that they've been looking forward to. Cool shoes, some nice joggers, some sweatpants, and a see you later. Shake your hand on the way out the door. Hopefully, enjoy your one-night stay at $55 a room. Congratulations. I feel that's jealousy coming through, if you can't tell. I do have Auburn. SEC was an absolute menace of a tournament. It was the grinder, and Auburn put on a little bit of a show. At least that's what I've been hearing, because again, this is not my thing. I've been watching wrestling. I went with the Tigers. Niko, where are you going? Auburn or Yale? Is this an upset that you see, or is it going to be a 5-4 in the round of 32?
I don't know if our boy Tyler's listening. The last Ivy League school to make this tournament did upset the number 2 seed in Princeton.
I was at that game last year.
Yeah, it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah,
Auburn's a much better team than what Arizona was facing last year against Princeton. Auburn's a better team than Yale. It's no brainer for me.
Jordan, where do you go on this one? Auburn or BYU?
I got the enjoyment of watching the SEC tournament. I've got Auburn in this. Auburn has more size, more speed. The game might be tight in the first half, but Auburn's going to come out and step on their neck when it comes push to shove. So,
all right, Darren, what are you going?
I'm with Auburn too.
Everybody's going Auburn, so that's a San Diego State Auburn matchup for everybody in the second round. That would be interesting because you're getting really good teams off the bat, and you're going to figure out who's actually poised to make a run. That could be a separation game in the tournament, and that's early on. Next up, 6 and 11, BYU taking on Duquesne. The Cougars out of the Mountain West. I did pick BYU. I'm going with the Mormons. Mormon power. I did have that's Ian. Shout out Ian. That was our wrestler who made the state finals last season. He was part of the LDS church. Hey. He is in college. He has not done his mission yet. I don't know what he does. Actually, you know what? He's at Utah Valley, and he took all the tumbling that we did in wrestling, and he's now the mascot. He got picked on the mascot team because he could do all the gymnastics and the flips and stuff. So he's a Utah Valley University mascot, and he gets to hang out with all the cheerleaders. He's like, yeah, I tried to walk onto the wrestling team. They didn't say anything. The cheer squad, though, they're like, hey, you want to be a mascot? You want to do flips? You want to jump in on the trampoline and do all that shit? I was like, oh, okay. So shout out Ian, but that's I have the Cougars. I have the Fighting Mormons. Jordan, what are you feeling about this one? Does Duquesne pull the upset and make it to the round of 32?
I'm actually backing you up here. I got BYU. I think BYU is playing some pretty hot basketball here at the end of the year. From what I've been able to see on tape, they don't commit many turnovers, and they win the rebounding battle in most of their games.
Coach,
Their plus minus and rebounding is kind of outstanding. So give me BYU in this round.
Niko, what are you feeling about this one? Is Duquesne a team that could make an upset? You said that they're a good ball club, and do they have the? I'm sure that they're a senior-led team because they're from a mid-majors. We're normally a champion of the mid-majors. Is this the matchup that you see going that way?
Well, a fun fact about this matchup before I get into my pick, BYU, for those that don't know, they told the committee we will not play on Sunday. So the reason why they were a 6 seed instead of a 5 seed, because Ken Palm, all the rankings have them higher to 5th seed. They're a 6 seed. They decided to concede a seed down so that they would play Thursday, and if they won Saturday instead, because it's playing Friday, Sunday. So for that matter, fuck them. I'm going to go Duquesne because these guys think that they're better than everybody else. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I could. There's half the teams in the country could pull this. Like,
race war.
We're a Christian school. We don't want to play on Sunday. Whatever. Like, it's ridiculous that they think that they're better than everyone else. That they can be like, no, what, screw it. Like we're gonna play an 11 seed instead. And Duquesne, obviously, coming off their conference championship where they ran the table against a very, very good VCU team and a lot of different other teams in that conference. Give me the Ducks. They're not even the Ducks. I don't even know what their mascot is, but it's Duquesne.
All right. The picture that I posted for this one was the St. Peter's last year. Duquesne might be that school that I have to learn about. I know that St. Peter's is in New Jersey only because of March Madness last season. But we all have. Well, Niko has Duquesne pulling the upset over the snooty BYU Cougars, but everybody else is back in the Mormons. 3-14, Illinois and Morehead State. Illinois, the Big Ten champions, so they get a decent draw. There might be 2 fairly easy games. If the upset that Niko predicted happens, you get Duquesne in the second round, and Illinois might benefit from that. But I do have the Illini making it through, and they're playing in the round of 32. I don't see a major upset like that happening. This is the Big Ten tournament was tough, and Wisconsin being in the final and being able to get past Purdue kind of sharpened everybody, I think. And Illinois using that last week as momentum. I can see the Illini making a little bit of a run, and I do have them, if I'm going to make a little bit of a tease, they are in the Sweet 16 in my bracket. So I think that I have a lot of faith in the Illini for what they were able to do in the Big Ten tournament. And I have them getting past Morehead State, and I think that might be fairly easy for them. It's not necessarily going to be a challenge. Darren, what are you seeing in that one?
I got Illinois as well. I thought about for a little bit taking Morehead. Sometimes, like when I don't know, like there's like certain like I was like trying to talk myself into the 14 seed beating the 3 seed, and like some of the like, well, they beat this team. I'm just sticking with Illinois. I'm just gonna say they're gonna win this. Don't overthink it. Move them on. That's what I have them at.
Do you give yourself room to make changes, or do you just try and stick with your initial bracket and that's the one that you're going to do? Do you do multiple brackets, or do you try and just do one?
I use pen. I use pen and paper, baby. We go one. We go one with it. That's the tradition. Like tradition, like none other. The Masters on CBS. That's what we do here at NCAA.
Now I'm picturing Jim Nance following Darren around his elementary school, like. And here he goes.
The terrible pick.
He turns left. That's a ballpoint pen that he's using. That's not leather. There we go.
He forgot to use apostrophe.
Niko, do you see Morehead State beating Illinois, or the Fighting Illini move on?
Look, Illinois has kicked my ass the last couple of years. The first year we did our quote-unquote bracket challenge, I had Illinois win it all. That was with Ayo Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn, not Cockburn.
I didn't remember that. I would think that was the year we were broadcasting games, wasn't it?
Yep. And they lost the first weekend. So they kicked my ass. And then I believe it was last year too. They were a very early round exit too. I don't know how to see them losing this game though. Spoiler alert, I don't have them advancing another round, but I am going Illinois here. I think they're much better than Morehead State. I should not trust Illinois. That's another note I've written down from past experiences, but I'm picking them to be Morehead State.
Okay. Jordan, what are you seeing in this matchup here?
Oh, Illinois' big men are going to take over this game just like they did the big tournament. So give me Illinois all day.
All right. That's a clean sweep for the Illini, and we'll see if anybody else has them matching what I do, making it all the way to the Sweet 16. But that's where my pick falls right now. And moving down, we got two more matchups left. 10-7, Drake and Washington. This is where I pulled a little bit more of an upset. Washington State, excuse me. Last year, the Pac-12, I just didn't know what to do. I picked the Cougars. They were the one where I just felt it in my gut. I woke up. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. That was my Ricky Bobby pick. I was like, yeah, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. I feel it in my balls. I feel it in my balls that Drake, yeah, right, Drake, yeah. Whew, I thought I was gonna do this whole thing and say the wrong name. That's a little bit embarrassing. Drake is gonna pull this upset off, and Washington State is going home in the first round. That's my 10-7 upset. Anybody backing me, or am I going to be alone on an island? Anybody?
I'll take the bait. Give me Drake. I will happily take the bait. Drake was America's 14 seed last year. Everyone thought that they would. And look, they had that lead on Miami. People forget. They had a 7-point lead, I believe, going into the last TV timeout with 4 minutes left in that first round game. Obviously, Miami went on to the Final Four, but they had a lead over a Final Four team last year, and everybody thought that Drake would be the massive upset last year. That team, they returned 4 of the 5 starters. Give me Drake going on to the second round. Washington State. They look. I watched that semifinal against CU in the Pac-12 tournament. I was not impressed at all by Washington State, so I'm going to go with the hotter team and give me Drake.
All right, Jordan, what are you going on the same side as Darren? Darren said Washington State. Are you picking an upset, or are you going chalk?
Well, when we started our program here 20 minutes ago, I said Washington State was going to make some noise in this bracket. So I had to stand by what I initially said when we started, and I got to go with Washington State.
All right, we're split down the middle on that one. Colorado boys standing firm on their own. Last one, Iowa State, Big 12 champion. Also Big 12 champion in wrestling, by the way. So huge weekend in Ames for Iowa State. The Cyclones having themselves a couple of days. Iowa State, I have them moving on and playing Illinois in the Sweet 16. That is that matchup. So I guess I've already let the cat out of the bag. Anybody else? Is everybody going with Cyclones, or who has the Jackrabbits? Does anybody have the Jackrabbits in South Dakota State?
This ain't FCS football.
But if it were, South Dakota State was good. South Dakota State could put a hurting on some of these Big 12 schools. I'm just going to say that Kansas versus South Dakota State, give me the Jackrabbits all day.
Yeah. Well, this ain't football, and this is basketball. So give me.
This ain't hockey. Yeah. No, I know. I'm just dreaming. Niko. That's all I'm doing. I assume everybody's going Iowa State. Anybody?
I'm going Iowa State.
Right.
Iowa State.
Everybody votes the same. That is our look at the Eastern region. Let's move over to the West. We moved down. North Carolina, I believe, are ACC champion, or did NC State?
NC State got the automatic bid.
Okay. North Carolina, the 1 seed, taking on Wagner. Everybody going Char Heels?
Yep.
Yes.
I really highly doubt we'll get a 16 versus 1.
There we go.
Now that I said that, 2 of them are going to happen, but I highly doubt we'll see.
It's going to be Purdue. I feel like Purdue's going to let everybody down because that's what the Boilermakers tend to do. Moving down that one, actually, before we get into our picks, I forgot we're doing the matchups first. Mississippi State, Michigan State, 8-9, St. Mary's, and GCU. I feel like somebody's going to be fairly interested in that one. Somebody might have a dog in that fight.
Possibly,
Niko, are you wearing the color specifically for this matchup?
GCU? Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that. I hope somebody caught that at home. GCU, St. Mary's, Rick Pitino. It would be nice to see you beat Rick Pitino, Niko. That would be a cool.
Rick Pitino's at St. John's. Oh, sorry, it's a bullshit bubble.
Well,
His son is in the. I think it's the next game, New Mexico. His son or his not
oh
son,
yeah,
his
no,
son
the St.
coaches
Mary's is the one that just
at New Mexico.
spanked Gonzaga. Duh. Now I'm yeah, I got turned around there. Alabama, Charleston, 4-13. Clemson, New Mexico, 6-11. Baylor, Colgate, 3-14. Dayton, shout out Dayton. I know that. Jordan. And
Yes,
they're
sir.
taking on 10-seeded Nevada. Arizona's going to be taking on 15 Long Beach State. I'm not sure what conference they're out of in basketball, but those are the matchups. What do we see out of the West? Who's going to be? I want to get everybody's dark horse. So, Darren, who's your dark horse in the Western region?
I kind of like St. Mary's as the dark horse in that region.
A 5 seed. 5 seed's going to make it all the way through to the West.
I don't think. I just think I like their guard that they have there, the main scorer there. I don't know. I'll be honest. I know his name. I know I've seen him play. He's very good. I know Grand Canyon is looking at them as Bennett is one of the better coaches in America. I'm just saying he is. He's always been there. I'm not saying they play the prettiest style of basketball. It usually fails them anytime they make it past. Anytime they make it past the second round, they can't score enough. But I do like them to kind of make a little run to the Sweet 16, possibly. That's where I have them at. So that's a surprise team for me as well. I just got to say, from a VSN matchup, the fact that we can get Dayton's Dugs versus Tyler's Arizona Wildcats it's beautiful to think about. So I hope that happens. That's what I'm rooting for in the second round.
You just want the world to burn. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
That's what I want. I want the world to burn there. I want the world to burn. I want that. Thank you. If there's a basketball god, we'll get that matchup. We'll get that.
There is a basketball god, because if you're a part of my take fan, we get James Madison versus Wisconsin in the first round, and then we also get winner of that game. Also, they play Vermont or Duke, and that's another matchup that's that's where the basketball gods have turned their attention to. I don't know if we're gonna get. Maybe we get a little bit of a rub off of that. Niko, are you picking your Lopes as the dark horse team? Can your Lopes make it through to the Final Four, win a game in this tournament? I guess. I dropped it down. I put it back. I pulled back. I pulled hard. I was flying down the road. I hydroplaned for a second. I need to steer out of the skid.
I'll put it this way. I have two teams in the Elite Eight that are double-digit seeds in this Sweet 16. Sorry. I have two double-digit seeds. I have, obviously, GCU, which I'll talk about here in a second. I have New Mexico. New Mexico is a very, very hot team. Winning the Mountain West Conference on the backs of Jalen House. Yes, if you know the name House, Eddie House's son, and a team that's obviously coached by, I think it's Richard is his brother, Richard Pitino, Rick Pitino's brother. This team is very, very good coach and very, very hungry. I like them going on a little bit of a run. But let's talk about my Lopes here for a second. If you're looking for your 12-5 upset, this is it. And look, I will set my bias aside for a second here. Let me tell you the facts. There is one team in the entire 68 team field that has 3 all conference player of the years, different players on their roster. 3 of them, and that is the Grand Canyon Antelopes. Obviously, this past season with Tyon Grant Foster, who came from DePaul, was a starter on DePaul, had open heart surgery in 2021, first year back, leading scorer, conference player of the year. Rayshawn Harrison last year led the GCU Lopes to their second conference or March Madness tournament, back as a starting point guard. Javon Blackshear, a guy who came off a torn ACL 2 years ago, coming off the bench. This team is loaded, and it's headed by one of the best up-and-coming head coaches in March Madness, in Bryce Drew. For those that don't know the name, it sounds familiar for those. Valparaiso, game-winning shot over Kentucky way back when. It's that guy. Brother of Scott Drew, Baylor, obviously in this bracket as well. This team is one of the most well-coached teams in the country. St. Mary's is very, very, very difficult matchup. Very, very difficult matchup. Obviously, a team that hasn't lost since I believe it was Christmas and has not lost a road game all season. Obviously, this won't be a road game for them, but the way to have GCU Havoc travel, it basically will be, is all I'm going to say. But look, I obviously believe in my team. I would love more than anything to be, like I said, we did a Christmas wish list back in December, and one of my Christmas wish lists was to be the March darling, and I would love nothing more to go on a little bit of run and hopefully make it to that second weekend. So I have them beating St. Mary's, and spoiler, I have them winning the next round too. So I'd love nothing more of it, but this is the bracket where there's some big time storylines, as our friend friend would say, and like I think that this bracket, I think this bracket has a lot of great intriguing things on it.
Jordan, who's your dark horse in this bracket here when we're talking about the West region?
In this bracket, my biased opinion is Dayton, but my professional analyst opinion would be Alabama. I think Alabama came on strong last year.
Are they hiding guns anywhere, Jordan? Is that something that is that something we're doing? Is there a drop happening somewhere? Blink twice if you're in danger.
No, but I would say Alabama would be my dark horse in this bracket. They came on strong towards the end of the season for the SEC. They played in the SEC tournament very well, and they have a lot of speed. They have a lot of size. And they're kind of right up there with Florida, which I'll touch on later.
Defense also, and no defense. That team does not play a lick of defense.
Who plays defense? Nobody. Nobody plays defense.
They just play defense in football. But
yeah, but their center can't snap the ball to the quarterback. That was their issue.
But Alabama would have been my dark horse in this. I'm standing firm on that. So.
All right. I did pick Dayton in the first round. I will say that.
I did pick Dayton in the first round. We want the Dayton Arizona matchup.
Let's start there because we're making picks already. Niko, Dayton or Nevada?
I went Mountain West. I went Nevada. I stuck with what I've been watching.
Wow, he stepped in for you for 2 weeks in a row.
Just
2 weeks in a row.
I have to go with what I know, and I know.
Have you seen Deron Holmes' stats?
No, I have not. That's the problem.
He's gonna be a lottery pick.
Look,
John said he won't even be in the second round.
I listen to a lot of West Coast podcasts, and a lot of West Coast people are saying that the Mountain West is a team that has a lot of teams that can go on to second weekend. And Nevada, people are saying could be a dangerous team out of here. I don't know. I like Nevada here. I'm sorry. I wish I could watch more Dayton basketball, but I don't. I'm gonna stick with what I know.
Darren, who do you got, Dayton or Nevada?
I got Dayton win just for that, but for the whole reason there. But I do find it funny that he said Holmes would be a lottery win. His co-host at Ohio Talk said to me be a second round pick, maybe. So you and Doug have to have a conversation. It sounds like about Mr.
We will. We're on tomorrow night.
It's on the agenda. Trust me. You sound like you're talking about your wife. You're married.
Sorry, I took it on Jordan right there. Sorry, Jordan. I was kidding.
All right. Arizona, Long Beach State. Are we going to make Tyler's day and do a clean sweep for the Wildcats? Because they do make it to the next round. But spoiler alert, Jordan, I also have Dayton upsetting Arizona State or Arizona and making it to the Sweet 16. So I have Arizona winning against Long Beach State. I almost did it again. Who is on my side, and is anybody going upset here? Nick, what do you got?
You guys don't want to pick the coach that was already fired. You guys don't want one of the best stories in college basketball. For those that don't know, Long Beach State fired.
Can he win his job back if he makes it to week 2?
No. Why would you go back? You can eat. Look, there's 1,000 jobs in college basketball, and your new athletic director fired you before your conference tournament, and you said, "Fuck him, I'm staying here and I'm going to win a conference championship." And he did that, and then he said, "No, actually, well, first of all, they probably shouldn't have won that game. But either way, they got there, they won it, and then he said, "Now I'm gonna go coach the March Madness tournament. You're gonna make profit off of me while you're not paying me down because I'm technically fired." Look, they're not winning. They're not gonna beat Arizona. I'm not picking them, but I would find it very, very, very funny if he won, and they would have pulled off the upset. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
There'd be a greater egg on the face moment, and you're just like, oh, this guy sucks, and then he goes on and makes the Final Four. I was at that game last. It was the only NCAA tournament games I went to. It was Utah State versus Missouri, and then it was Princeton versus Arizona. So I saw Arizona lose. The guard play was not very good for Arizona that day. I forget the white guy's name. That was the guy Tyler hated with a passion, Kispert or whatever his name was.
Corey Kispert. I remember him.
Oh,
Jimmy knows somebody.
It wasn't the Gonzaga guy, but it was whoever that guy was last year, the white guy from Arizona. He hated
tried. I want to get credit for trying.
We tried.
Yeah, name. That's a name. It's a name.
It's a name. And I know he played college basketball. Yes.
The one thing when I saw, I don't think along me, Princeton stayed consistent. They had this power forward from England that actually gave them. He was actually pretty good. He gave them a really hard trouble. I don't see Long Beach State having a guy can get 22 like that. So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, Arizona also got swept under the rug because of what Purdue did. Like people forget, that was a 2 versus 15. Like that's every other year. That's the upset of the first round. But since Purdue fell apart last year, people were like, oh man, Arizona lost. Oh, okay, I guess.
It kind of lost a little luster.
Yeah.
If you let an Ivy League school upset you, they're practicing their violin in their hotel room the night before for their audition on Monday. They don't get school off on Monday. They go right back after the games. That's how this shit goes. I played against Colorado School of Mines. They have certain days they can travel. If you invite Colorado School of Mines or something, it has to be on a Saturday. They don't get Fridays off ever for sports or nothing.
Jordan, I think Tyler said it famously.
You never know if they got a J.K. Simmons, whipping them up like in Whiplash, throwing instruments saying "not my tempo." They might come out with a little something.
Am I dragging or am I lagging?
If you haven't seen that movie, go out and watch it. Watch it.
I'm the heir to the orbit's throne. What are you doing? That hurts. Jordan, what is it? Arizona for you as well?
It's Arizona for me as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Easy so far. Let's go a little bit quicker here through the rest of the bracket. Baylor, Colgate. Baylor on 3. Yay or nay? 1, 2, 3.
Baylor.
Woo!
Baylor,
there we go. That's the teacher in me. I got Baylor as well. Clemson, New Mexico. I have the Tigers in honor of our interview that we have coming up on Monday. Warren Garrett, he is from Clemson country. He's from backwoods of South Carolina, he said, and he is a big Tigers fan. So I'm going Clemson to win that matchup as the 6th seed, and they're going to move on past New Mexico. I know that we were just talking about New Mexico being hot, so I'm sure I'm going to get roasted. Go ahead. I've opened myself up to it, so kick down my doors and burn down everything that I love.
I already said my piece. I love the Mountain West, so yeah, I'm picking New Mexico here. I really am. I love Jalen House, and I love the energy they play with.
Jordan, who are you going with here?
I've got Clemson in this one.
There we go. Darren, who are you going with?
I'm going with Niko. I'm going to New Mexico on this one. I'm going to
All right, it's split. House divided.
They don't know.
House divided. Jordan, it's been the two of us. Just the two of us. If we can make it, we try. Okay. Alabama, Charleston. Everybody going Tide?
I am.
Charleston kicked my ass last year. I thought they were going to be one of the upsets. I had them winning 2 games last year. They lost by 20 the first round. So yeah, I'm going to be. It's going to be one of the most entertaining games because neither team plays defense. Literally, if you're looking at over-unders, hammer the over if it's anything over 150. I'm serious. And hey, by no means am I Shohei Ohtani, but I would throw money on the over in that game. For those of you that got that reference to happen
today. Jordan, what do you get? Did you have anything different on this one?
I've got. I picked Alabama as my dark horse in this region, so I've got Alabama in this game.
And then St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. I have the Lopes. Making quite a run.
Quite a run. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it was basically. I'm picking if you have a tie to some team this year. I'm being a bro this year. I'm trying to put good energy out there, so I'm giving everybody my good energy as much as possible. So the Lopes are making a run. I know that's not smart. I know that's going to come back to bite me, but it's going to be fun to try and root for it. Darren, what are you going?
St. Mary's for sure.
Jordan, St. Mary's,
I got to back Darren on this one. I got St. Mary's on my bracket.
If I had no ties, I probably would too. Like I keep it up with you.
Niko, I have a lavender shirt. I have a lavender shirt. When do they play? I'll wear it in solidarity.
Friday night. We're literally the last
night. All right, I'll wear my lavender. It's a V-neck. It's weird. It'll be interesting.
V-neck? Nah.
I'll look like a Guido. I'll look like I'm straight off the set of The Sopranos. I'll slick my hair back. People won't know what hit them. That's for damn sure. They won't know what hit them.
You gotta have the chain. You gotta have the gold chain too. If you're gonna rock the greasy
I do have a few. I have a couple gold chains. I have a Cornicello. I have a Cornicello tattoo. Jordan. It's tattooed on me, and it says Pride in Italian. I went through The Sopranos. Fun fact, just sidebar real quickly. I was binge watching it, and I watched it so much I started to dream, and my inner monologue was in Tony Soprano's dialect. I had a Jersey accent, and I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from Colorado, and that was where I ended up landing on that one. We already said North Carolina beats Wagner. I have Michigan State in my Elite Eight. I have them playing Baylor in my Elite Eight. Yeah, I like Tom Izzo. I like Michigan State.
I do too.
I think maybe they get hot. I don't know too much about North Carolina. It's bad. I don't know too much about any of these teams, but I have Michigan State making quite a run. So I have the Spartans going through. What are we feeling on that one, Jordan? Where are you going? Spartans or Bulldogs? Michigan State, Mississippi State.
Well, I have Michigan State coming out of the first round. I don't have them going quite as deep as you.
Yeah,
and I'm a Big Ten guy, so that you got a lot of faith there in Sparty.
I do have. There's a couple. I'm also picking one of their wrestlers to make a little bit of a surprise run as like a 23 seed. So I'm hopeful. I what can I say? I have nothing but immeasurable hope. How does whatever Lil Dicky says in one of his songs? Darren, where are you going on this one? Mississippi State, Michigan State.
I'm going Michigan State. I think Michigan State gets by the first round.
Go Spartans!
I kind of trust Izzo, but then the next matchup I don't trust as much. That's I do trust him for that first round matchup.
I trust you. But
I have either won a lot of brackets and lost a lot based on Michigan State going to the
finals. Izzo, you broke my heart.
There you go. So this one I'm not trusting him in.
Tom Izzo sleeps with the fishes.
I think North Carolina's primed. I mean, I know we're gonna do it later, but I think they're ready.
Niko, who are you getting in this one?
January, February, Izzo. Yep. Give me
there we go. Izzo. Let's kind of speed things up through the next two, just because I don't want to keep everybody for too long. And I know Darren's pulling a little bit of a late night. Moving into, I have the next one on here is the South. So the South region, Houston is the number 1 seed, even though they did not win the Big 12 tournament, got upset by Iowa State. They still hold on to the number 1 seed. Nebraska, Texas A&M, the 8-9. Wisconsin, JMU, that's the PMT matchup there. Duke, Vermont, the 4-13. Texas Tech, NC State. NC State goes on the surprise run, gets the automatic bid from the ACC. Kentucky, the 3. Oakland, the 14. Maybe Oakland is the team that's double digits. That's maybe going to be the America's sweetheart. Boise State loses to Colorado. Gets right. They get blown out, and
that's Colorado State. This game's tied.
Right. It's tied. That's the interesting. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. If you can't tell by this point, I'm faking it till I make it here. But hopefully the Buffaloes are able to pull that one off. They'll be playing Florida as the 7 seed, and then Marquette, Kentucky, Western Kentucky. Let's start at the 116. I think we said earlier no upsets, 16-1. So everybody has Houston. The Cougars moving on.
Yep.
All right, moving on to Nebraska, Texas A&M. I'm going with Big Red. I'm a Will Compton fan. I guess, like I said, if you have a tie to a school and if I like you, that's what I went with. So I'm going Nebraska. Who's backing me and who's going Texas A&M? Who's backing Nebraska? Darren, you got Nebraska here?
I got A&M.
All right. Niko, you got Nebraska?
Nebraska is the only school in the Power Fives in each Power Six, technically for college basketball, Power Six, that has not won a March Madness game. That changes this year. Give me Stephen Teriyaki. If you know this, he's going to be playing for Japan in the Olympics this summer. He's a starting point guard. Tapange, I think is his last name for Nebraska. Dude is a left-handed absolute sniper.
Yes.
Yeah, give me Nebraska.
All right, Darren. Why do you have Texas A&M? What makes you think the Aggies have the edge?
What did Niko say? We've never won an NCAA.
Well, did you know? The N stands for knowledge. That's a Colorado classic. That'll never get old. Jordan, Texas A&M or Nebraska? Who are you going?
Niko preached the gospel. I'm going to Nebraska.
Ooh, okay. Go Big Red. Go Big Red. I'll do it. That's fine. Wisconsin, James Madison. I do not have this as a 12-5 upset. I have the Dukes going down. The Badgers proved a lot, I think, by beating Purdue. So I have Wisconsin moving on to the second round and making even a little bit of a run further past that. Niko, where are you going with that one? With Wisconsin and Jamie?
So everyone loves the 5-12s, right? Last year, the 5-12s, the upset, the 0-4. There was not one 5-12 upset last year. I think there's only going to be one this year. I'm going to go with Wisconsin here. They're running the Big Ten tournament. Showed me too much. I'm going to go Wisconsin.
Jordan, where are you going with this one?
Well, I mean, everybody knows I'm going with the big team because I'm biased. You know, according to
Go
Darren,
Big Ten.
Big Ten. Yeah, I got Wisconsin in round 1. I don't have going much further after that, but Wisconsin's coming out of the first round.
Darren, you got anything different?
I got the same, and even for the one below, I got Wisconsin versus Duke. You look ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody going against Duke with Vermont? The Catamounts? Anybody know that?
One of the greatest comeback stories since DeMar Hamlin, man. What a beautiful story.
Wow.
I'm just saying, man, the fact he came back from that injury, man, who knows? Crazy. I don't even remember his name. It's a tall white guy.
Okay.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I don't need to reiterate it anymore.
I don't. I'm so confused. I'm lost.
I lost your hello.
Help me, I'm lost. I don't know where I am.
Yeah, you got me lost in space up here, man. I
feel like
I don't
Big
know where
Daddy.
you're going with that.
I feel like
the whole court storming thing where the Duke center got absolutely ran over by somebody, and it brought the whole debate that court storming should put kids in jail. And he came back and played the next game and had a real dunk. Yeah,
we stormed the mats with wrestling in college. We love storming. I stormed everything. 2,000 people in that small ass gym at 7,000 feet elevation. Ooh, there's nothing better than storming that shit. We stormed it against UT Permian Basin. We stormed it against Adams State when we won the wrestling conference. There's nothing like that. Of course, keep storming the court, storm the field.
Especially against Duke.
Yeah, F Duke. I don't even know what else to say. Midwest, last region that we're going to be talking about.
Are we skipping over the fun ones? NC State, you don't want to talk about DJ Burns, the big boy from NC State? What about Kentucky?
Is he making the Elite
Six? God damn, Jimmy.
I missed. Hey, Niko, you should know I have a mental block against Marquette right now. It's tough. It's tough. Okay. I did skip that one. I forgot. Yeah. I also skipped the NC State one. NC State, I have making a huge run in the wrestling tournament. I do not have them doing anything in the basketball tournament. I have the Red Raiders over the Wolfpack. Am I stupid? Am I dumb?
Look, DJ Burns, Jimmy, he plays your style of basketball. Just look up DJ Burns highlights on YouTube. The man literally bullies every person.
What's Jimmy's style of basketball?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Niko, what is my style of basketball? Volleyball.
Football size player playing on basketball court. That is
the size. Yeah. No, that makes more sense. Darren, I get on a basketball court and I realize how short I actually am. I feel like I get on a basketball court and I hear nothing but like a polka in my head because I'm a giant for Italians, but when I'm on a basketball court, I'm like a little midget. And I can jump decently, but I got like little short arms. So I'm like,
good for blocking. Good for blocking. Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm great. Short spaces, wrestling, blocking. I'm great. Basketball. It's
different world.
There's a video on the internet. I decided to put that out there, and now I'm a teacher, and I'm sure my kids are going to be watching this, and they're going to find that somehow, and it's going to be.
Send it to me. I'd like to look at it.
Maybe that's the one that I'll tag.
We're having a conversation. All right, me and Tyler versus Jordan and Doug. So it sounds like Niko and Jimmy would not have a chance against us.
Niko needs to carry us. Niko needs to carry us so badly.
I can point Jimmy in the right direction to do what I need to do. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Niko, you forget how bad I am.
I know, but I'm skilled enough in myself that I think I could
I'm skilled
tell
enough.
you. Let me remind you, my older brother, my older brother, my little brother, and I took home. We got second place in a 3-on-3 tournament, and my older brother has less skill than you, Jimmy, playing basketball. I'm not saying a lot.
I highly
Because he
doubt that.
grew up playing rugby, so we got to second place because we dragged him
Double
all the way
Niko,
there. So.
double Niko.
No, if his
Please give me
no,
a-
honestly, if his youngest brother plays, his youngest brother is a bucket. His youngest brother is like MPJ.
No, it's
He
gotta
just
be you,
posts up
Jimmy.
in the
That's
corner.
the idea.
Nico's able to run the post game, and then Jimmy just stands off in the corner. And every time, if there's a best player on the court, when he goes up for a layup, Jimmy's gonna sweep his legs.
There's two things Jimmy would be doing: get a rebound and 7 picks. That's all I need.
I know
Get a
Tyler-
rebound, 7
fouls.
picks.
Tyler would be
Rebound,
guarding
7
Jimmy, it
picks.
sounds like, in our matchups, Niko. It sounds like I'd be on you based on the way we're explaining these matches. It sounds like
This is such a shit. I don't know how this turned into a shit on me moment, but yeah, fuck. I
That's
cannot
always
play
fun.
pickup basketball, guys. I'm a wrestling coach. Did I not make that clear?
Cut him for the
Jordan,
team.
do you have NC State moving past into the second round?
I like NC State.
I have NC State moving out of the first round. Correct.
All right, I have Texas Tech. Then I guess I'll be the one that is the squeaky wheel there.
I haven't believed in Texas Tech since Bobby Knight left. So if that tells you anything.
They did make that run, and you know who's a fun fan of Texas Tech, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, everything works out for him in his life.
That makes me hate him even more. So fuck Texas Tech then.
There we go. All right. And then the last one in this region, the other one that I skipped, Marquette, out of the Big East, one of the 3 Big East teams to make it, taking on Western Kentucky. Does Dwayne Wade? I have them moving on. Does D Wade's alma mater move through? And I would rather not spend a lot of time talking about this one because it's a little raw there.
I'll help you out. Marquette is look. If they have Tyler Kolek, this team is one of the best teams in the country. If they don't, who knows? But Marquette should win this first round game. I don't think the 15 seeds are not as good as the past couple of years.
Does everybody have Florida moving out of the first round?
I have.
I do not. I
have
have the winner of the Boise Colorado game moving on to the second round.
the big man breaking his leg.
Florida?
Yeah, the big man broke his leg.
Dude, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Boise State's up 1 right now with like 3:30 left. I got it.
Boise.
Fucking shit.
Mountain West.
If Boise wins, I'll probably flip. I mean, I have them losing either way in the next round.
That game's being hosted in Dayton just to put icing on top of the cake there.
You should be at the game right now reporting it. That's where we got. We got to be at there. How far are you from Dayton?
I'm 30 minutes out. I was at the game. I was at the 2 games yesterday for my high school. My high school got to attend the first 2.
That's cool.
We got to watch them practice too. It was a lot.
All right, that's all the games, right? I didn't miss any more.
And then I have Kentucky. I don't have Oakland winning.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody else, Wildcats.
Yep.
Unanimous.
Midwest, last one, and then we'll move into Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4 discussion. Purdue, the 1 seed, Zach Edey, big ass, leading them against Grambling. Are they gonna do a band performance at halftime? Because if they are, then that might sway my decision. I'm picturing Nick Cannon. I'm picturing the Uptown Fade, the Afro. Yeah, I may regret saying that, but I don't see Grambling.
Are 20 kids gonna be there?
That would be interesting. That would make things very interesting. Maybe they're the ones on the drum line, and he's like, "Oh yeah, all my family can do this." I had kids with Mariah Carey. Remember that?
You did. To never forget that.
Everybody picking Purdue to move on past Grambling in the
Purdue's
first round.
winning this year. Come on, Purdue.
It'd be a colossal meltdown.
Did you say winning the whole thing, Darren?
No,
Okay.
If they lost this would be Mike. After last year, they got to win this year. They got to win.
Nick, Purdue, Boilermakers.
Yeah, it's good. It'd be a colossal meltdown. It's going
Jordan, anything different?
in round one, I got Purdue coming out of round one. Correct.
All right. Utah State, TCU, the 8-9, Horned Frogs or Utah State. I am having trouble pulling up their one.
I got Utah State.
I've got Utah. I'm with Darren. I got Utah State.
I took TCU. TCU won a tournament game last year, actually here in Denver, funny enough, and an absolute nail biter against ASU. But I'm going to go with TCU. I feel like they're more seasoned.
Utah State Aggies.
It was interesting. Like I said, I got to see them play against Missouri last year. It was like like Sacramento, 10 o'clock my time out there versus them. They did have some guys out there that last year I saw. Now that I see they're still on the team, they were ahead at halftime versus Missouri, and they kind of let Colby Jones and these other guys like kind of back in it a little bit, and they made some mistakes, especially turnover wise. I'm just thinking, looking ahead to again, maybe see them last year, that some of these guys will be a little bit more locked in this year. So that's the reason I'm kind of taking them a little bit this year.
I have TCU moving on out of that matchup. Next team out of the West Coast, Gonzaga taking on number 12 seed McNeese. I have the Bulldogs moving on past this one. Niko, you said your dog also has the Bulldogs making quite a bit of a run, obviously.
Yes, I also will be taking Gonzaga. Everybody is in love with McNeese. I don't know where this is coming from because if you look at their strength of schedule, the best team they played probably out of the conference was Michigan, who was the worst team in the Big Ten. McNeese had a great record. They played in a terrible conference. Give me Gonzaga. Look, it's better when people aren't talking about Gonzaga and they're a little bit underdog. They can fly under the radar. It's better for them. Give me Gonzaga here.
Jordan, what do you think about Gonzaga this year? Is this the year that they make it past their curse or whatever they have going against themselves?
The only fun fact also, Gonzaga, 5 straight years now making it to the second weekend. Have not made it to, or they made it to the Sweet 16 5 straight years. So there's not a curse. There's a championship curse, but there's not a first or second round curse. There's very, very few teams in the country that are as good as Gonzaga in the first couple rounds.
Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. Jordan, what do you think about this matchup?
Status quo there. I got Gonzaga leaving the first round.
Darren, Bulldogs. You have the Bulldogs also?
I have the Bulldogs. I've watched Gonzaga. They feel a lot like, this is an old name, and this is only because I've watched a lot of college. They feel like a lot like the Austin Day Gonzaga Bulldogs a little bit. Like there's a little like there's not a toughness there with this team. And like St. Mary's, when they bully you 2 straight times, I have concerns watching that matchup over the last decade. Like I just have concerns about Gonzaga's toughness. They can score. They still play like good offensive basketball. If it does get grit and grind at all, I would be concerned if I had picked the other team. That's all. That's how I'd leave it there. So I'm going against Gonzaga, and that's very rare for me, to be honest with you.
All right. 4-13, Kansas and Samford. Is anybody picking a major upset in this one, or is everybody going with the number 4 seed over 13?
I'm going Stanford. Oh, no, you said Stanford. No, I'm going Kansas.
Stanford.
Oh, no, that's good. Yeah, I got Kansas in this.
I'll take the bait on this one. I'm going to go with Stanford.
Whoa.
A couple facts.
Sam.
Couple facts on this one I'll throw at you. So Bill Self and Kansas, they run a 7-man rotation, right? So very, 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 very few people off the bench.
Niko, you won our bracket challenge picking Kansas.
I'm well aware of that. Both Hunter Dickinson, transferred from Michigan, and Kevin McCullough Jr. look like they will be out first game. So they're already undermanned. They're playing a Samford team that plays 11 guys deep. Do you know where this game is being played? Salt Lake City, Utah. We are talking about high elevation, ladies and gentlemen. You already have a team in Kansas that is very, very beat up already injury-wise. Could be tired legs. Give me the Samford Bulldogs with the upset. I think this is the major one we come from. They play 11 guys deep. They can shoot the ball very, very well. If Kansas has Dickinson and McCullough in the lineup, it's one of the best lineups in the country. They go right up with UConn, go right up with Houston, right there with Purdue. But if both of them are injured and they're already undermined and play a 7-man rotation versus Samford team that runs out 11 guys, I'll take the team that is healthier and will be able to run up and down, especially in high altitude.
All right. Darren, Samford or Kansas?
No, I got Kansas, definitely.
Jordan, you got the upset also?
No, not at all. Not in this one. I got Kansas in this one.
All right. Niko, you're the one lone man there with the Bulldogs. South Carolina, Oregon, Pac-12, last year of its existence. I have the Ducks going on a Sweet 16 run. So I have them beating the Gamecocks. This is an upset that I have picked. Darren, what are you thinking about this matchup when you see South Carolina and Oregon there?
I really like Oregon's coach. It always makes it tough for me when he gets into a postseason, I don't know. I just like the way he kind of gets into tight games. He really the last 3 minutes. He's usually really good in games. I'm gonna go with South Carolina. Though. I just don't believe in the star players enough for Oregon to overcome what South Carolina has in the SEC. So I'm gonna go South Carolina.
Niko, what are you thinking about this one?
I'm riding the Conference of Champions, baby. Look, rest in peace to the greatest
champions.
Rest in peace to the greatest conference in college basketball history, and I will
no doubt.
I will stand on that. Look, I love
Pac-12
basketball, and look, Oregon winning the last one kind of sucked because I wish CU would have done that. They had to squeeze in, but they finally got in. But man, they had the big man Dante in the middle, or Dance or something, whatever his last name is, and I'm just gonna ride the Pac-12. And look. Last couple of years, riding the Pac-12 has usually helped people, because the Pac-12 teams have surprised some teams in the first couple of years and won games that they shouldn't have. So give me Oregon.
All right, Jordan, what are you thinking about that one?
I've got South Carolina. I like Oregon style play. I have South Carolina actually by 4, so I think it's going to be who has the ball last and who can perform better. And I think South Carolina just has too much defense. At the end of the day, their big men are going to come through.
Real quickly, 33 seconds left in the game. Colorado's up 54-49. How I'm excited. I'm a little excited. That's something that I did not expect happening right now. I might have to throw that.
Is Colorado versus Boise State even a thing? That's kind of close. Is that a thing out there for you guys even?
No, Boise State's in the Mountain West.
It's more Colorado State.
Yeah. Boise State and Colorado State have more of a thing going.
Gotcha. I was just curious.
Colorado and Utah are like the new rivalry because we don't play Nebraska every season anymore. So Utah is it's called the Rumble in the Rockies because we each have the Rocky Mountains on one side of the state.
Gotcha.
I guess that's what
to me. It's like Colorado. It's kind of a Midwest. You don't usually get that's a kind of an interesting kind of first round matchup.
You guys consider Colorado Midwest?
I consider it not Midwest. I consider
Midwest.
I consider it Rocky Mountain West. Like you guys, I'm not saying they're Midwest. I'm more saying you guys and Idaho are close together. Call it like that matchup, just close together.
I don't think we're anywhere near Idaho, but that's why I'm not.
We are actually. It's like 3 hours away. If we go directly to the border, it's like 3 hours, and we're in Idaho.
That's fine. That's closer than me to Los Angeles. So there you go. It takes me about 7 to get.
All right, I'm gonna get that game on. I want to see the ending of that thing. Let's see, Midwest. We just talked about South Carolina, Oregon, Creighton, and Akron. Creighton, third team out of the Big East. That is another one. I have them moving forward. The Blue Jays, the Zips. I don't think that's going to be that kind of an upset. Jordan, what are you thinking about Akron and Creighton there?
Give me the Kangaroos for the kick, baby. I think this is my upset in this bracket. I think Akron's going to come out of round 1.
All right.
The MAC champions.
Darren, you seem surprised. Why
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I kind of laughing. I like it. Jordan, obviously, we get to know him over talking to Greta. I love the passion, love the energy, and obviously a love for his state. So I can appreciate that as well with it.
I did get to watch a lot of Akron basketball.
You did.
I got to watch them in their conference. I got to watch them in their conference tournament. They're playing kind of well above their level right now. And now 6 weeks ago, if you had asked me this question, I would have went the other way. But Akron's been playing some hot basketball of late.
And obviously, I'm not going to look at here and say, Akron, what a good 2-3 zone they run there. I just feel like, I just trust Creighton. I like their coach.
It's hard to not trust the Big East too. Like the Big East always seems to know how to beat bad teams, and I'm not calling Akron a bad team, but like a team that isn't the same level of competition as the Big East sees every year, and I just have to go with what I know. And I feel like Creighton is should be on paper a better team, but like I said, who knows in March.
All right. Well, Jordan has Akron. Everybody else has Creighton moving forward. 7 and 10, Texas and Colorado State. I have my Rammies, the CSU Rammies. Horns down. Colorado State upset 10-7. Book
What
it.
a college football game this year.
Book it. I'm probably dead wrong. Who's going to tell me how I'm dead wrong?
I'm gonna tell you how you're dead right. CSU coming off a 20-point win already in March Madness is a massive boost. I look the first four. There's almost every single year at least one team that wins, right? The first four, there's always usually one. And I picked both CU and CSU to win, but I'm going to go CSU here because I feel more confident about it. Because, like I said, I think seeing the March Madness logo playing in a bigger game takes into account the fact that you kicked the living shit out of Virginia too. And held the team to 14 points in the first half. I think that adds to something. I think that will look. I don't think it'll take them far in the tournament. I haven't going much farther, but I think that will definitely add a little bit of boost as opposed to a Texas team that didn't perform very well in the Big 12 Big 12 tournament. So I'll go with CSU Rams. I'll take the bait.
Darren, Texas or Colorado State?
I have Colorado State as well. I kind of liked them earlier in the year, and then they kind of faded for they kind of like
they shouldn't have been on the bubble. They should have been.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I kind of like them, like early on, like that first kind of tournament season before they get in the conference. I kind of like some of their pieces, and then obviously I kind of get into other parts, and then I don't get to see as much. But I did like that first part. If they can kind of find that like first month of the season, I kind of think they could make a run.
Yeah.
So I did take Colorado State to win this game.
Jordan, are you sticking with the upset, or are you going the other way here?
My bracket had Texas winning, so I gotta stay faithful. I gotta stay faithful. You guys are putting up some compelling arguments. It's truly making me second guess it. But I gotta stick to my guns. I gotta say Texas in this one.
All right. We've talked a lot about some of the teams. We've already given some hints and everything like that. I'm still trying to be cognizant of everything. I'm trying to be a good producer here. I don't want to go too long. And Jordan, you're staying up longer than you need to. I appreciate it, but
no,
obviously
we're at midnight here in Ohio, so we're burning the oil.
Burning that midnight oil. We're gonna go directly to the Final Four. This is where you can kind of maybe talk a little bit about the teams that you have there and their path. I'll go ahead and kick things off. I have Final Four: UConn, Michigan State on the one side in Glendale, and I have Houston and Tennessee. So I have a 1 and a 9, and I have a 1 and a 2. We won't talk about the national championship picks yet, but those are the Final Four teams that I have there. Obviously, UConn goes on a run. They beat FAU, San Diego State, and then Iowa State. So two teams that were in the Final Four last year, Big 12 champion in the last game to get to the Final Four. If they get to that point, the Huskies already look like they're one of the best teams in the country. I think that UConn makes their claim there, and I've already given them away as they're my national champion. But I think that UConn would be able to beat Michigan State in that Final Four matchup. And on the other side, Tennessee, I have them coming out of it. I think the SEC tournament was a really good proving ground. And Tennessee, they got St. Peter's, so last year's darling. I think that they're able to get past CSU in the second round. Oregon in the Sweet 16, beat up Kansas in the final in the Elite Eight, and then make their way into the Final Four and play a Houston team that's already been upset deep into a tournament once. So, Niko, Final Four picks. What do you have for the people there? Who's making your Final Four?
I took UConn as well. In my East region, I have UConn obviously beating Stetson. I have FAU. I have beaten Auburn. And then little interesting part of my bracket, I have Duquesne and Drake in my Sweet 16. I have Drake getting to the Elite Eight and UConn beating that. I think UConn is just too much to handle. And like I said previously when I talked about this bracket, I don't trust teams that win the conference championships. I don't know why. It just burnt me in the past. That's just my main reason for that. In the West, I I have Arizona. I have Arizona going to the Final Four in their home state. Their path to get there, I have them beating, obviously, Nevada. Then I have them beating the Cinderella darling New Mexico on the top half of that West region. I had North Carolina in my Sweet 16. I have GCU upsetting Alabama. You know what? Alabama doesn't play a lick of defense. I think that we can slow them down with our pace. So I think GCU makes the Sweet 16, and then I have UNC upsetting my dreams and beating Grand Canyon in the Sweet 16, and then I have the quote unquote Caleb Love Bowl, or not? Caleb Love Bowl, where Arizona, Caleb Love, point guard for Arizona, was at North Carolina the last couple of years, is now the point guard for Arizona with a chance at the Final Four. Give me Arizona there. I think Arizona has a little bit of chip on the shoulder. I don't think Purdue has a chip on the shoulder. I think Arizona has more of that chip, and I think they'll use it to their advantage and get to Phoenix, Arizona, and play Final Four in their home state. For the South, this is my big shocker of my bracket. I have Houston not making it to week 2. I have them losing to Nebraska. There's always one number 1 seed that doesn't make it to the second weekend. Houston's my team this year. I think that Purdue, UConn, and North Carolina could show me more to make that second weekend. Houston, I'm going to have them losing in an upset. To get my Final four, though, I'll get you to my Elite 8. I have Duke and Kentucky. Cold-ass white boys. If you're looking for some cold-ass white boys, Reed Shepherd for Kentucky. Right, remember the fucking name, okay? Remember the name. Reed Shepherd. Cold-ass white boy. And that dude is one of the best bucket getters right now in college basketball. I'm taking him and Kentucky in my Final Four.
Fucking corn on the cob here. CAWB. That's a cold-ass white boy right there.
You need to come on to Fort Minor in the background.
All I'm saying, look. There's always one or two. There's always one or two. It was Jimmer. It was JJ Redick. It was Ali Farouk Manesh. It was. I mean, you go down the list. Every March there's a cold ass white boy, and my cold ass white boy this year is Reed Shepherd. Okay, and Kentucky going to the Final Four. So that's my team out of the South. Then going down to the Midwest. I don't trust Purdue. I don't at all. I see them making the second weekend. I had them losing to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. I had Tennessee beating CSU. I have Creighton beating Oregon. I have Tennessee beating Creighton, and then I have Tennessee Gonzaga in my Elite 8. And like I just said, I love my cold ass white boys. Give me Dalton Connect in the Tennessee Volunteers in the Final Four. Another cold ass white boy. Reed Shepherd versus Dalton Connect in the Final Four, and then UConn versus Caleb Love and the Arizona Wildcats.
All right. Darren, your turn. Final 4 picks. Who do you got, and how do they get there? What are you seeing?
A lot of white guys in the finals. That's what I see. No, what I got is
white boys. Why is this so popular on the dark web?
Unrealistic.
It's really far right. Far right. Excuse me.
There we got it. You got to get it back. South. I got Marquette. I really like Marquette. I like their coaches. I like the lefty point guard. I like Cam Jones from the 3-point line. I like Marquette. I just really liked him from the beginning of the year. So I got them in the South, Midwest. Niko, you made it tough for me, but I'm gonna go Kansas still. I don't know what it is about. I'm gonna say they get healthy around Sweet 16. They get past the first 2, they make a run. That's what I'm kind of
fully healthy. That is not a bad pick at all. Fully healthy, that team is one of the best teams in the country. I just want to see them. I want them to prove it to me.
West was maybe the hardest for me, like in the area. Like it was okay because I feel like I wrote down North Carolina. It's like I like that, they got a lot of like veteran players on their team. And then but then I'm with you. It's like Arizona should be ready. Like they should be ready to make the Final Four now. Like they have the guys developed. They got some new transfers in. Like they should be ready to make the Final Four. So I took them with it. And then the East. This is the biggest one, boys. I got Auburn making the Final Four. So that's the big one. I got Auburn making the Final Four. So that's my Final Four.
Eagle.
Yep. I got that beating UConn in the Sweet 16. That's what I have.
Jordan, Final 4 picks. Who do you got? How did they get there?
All right. Out of the where do I want to start here? I'll start with the South. Out of the South, I have Florida. Florida coming out of the South into the Final Four.
7 seed, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So I have them beating Kentucky, one of their old foes. So to get there, I have Tennessee. Correction. Yeah, I have Tennessee coming out of the Midwest.
Yep.
So they have a team that looked like they got it together.
We're on the
So I
same
got two
page there.
SEC teams. I got North Carolina coming out of the West, and I have UConn coming out of the East.
Okay, yeah, we're honestly not that far off. That's pretty cool. I feel like I'm the only one that trusts in Izzo that much,
Yep.
and that's my Italian bias. So, sue me, I guess. But yes, that is my Italian bias. I'll continue to rock with that. It's time. National championship picks. We've kept people waiting here for an hour and 20 minutes. We'll wrap things up after we get to these picks and let everybody know where they can catch us next. I know it's going to be a busy weekend. It's been a busy day of content for myself, and it's going to be fun moving forward because not only now we have March Madness to keep up with, we're going to have playoffs, we're going to have off-season continuing to go on, and then summer PLL is going to be in full swing, and I know Niko's going to be busy during that. So everything's coming kind of right down the pipe. For the national championship, my national championship is UConn versus Tennessee. I picked my tiebreaker score at 245. I don't know what it is, but everything that I've heard, and this is like Mark Titus coming up.
Jimmy,
Is that dumb? Should I drop that?
Look, you should probably drop it by about 100 points because you rarely ever see two teams score over 100 points in a tournament game unless there's triple overtime. So, hey, it'd be a hell of a national championship.
Hey, Isaiah Thomas, Washington Huskies. It can happen. But there's UAB pressing all day.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
This is why we need to speak our truth before. Because if I wouldn't have said anything, everybody would have let me gone in there with a 245 tiebreaker and just fucking laughed at me.
That's high for an NBA total, okay? That's pretty high for an NBA total, let alone college basketball total.
I was thinking about Jokic. Who's the Jokic of college basketball? I have no clue. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Jokic of college basketball.
I'm just me picking this NCAA March Madness bracket was the stupid Simpsons meme. The kid sitting in the back of the bus. I'm in danger. I don't know where I'm going.
Jimmy, there was this guy in the Bay Area that did radio for a while. Whenever like somebody would come on and they didn't know what they were talking about, he'd be like, "He's so good looking. He's so like now there it is. You got away with it, buddy. Your looks made it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, it's bad. It's really bad. I did my best. That's what I texted because Brandon, God love Brandon, but he kind of was like texting me thinking that I wanted to help with the videos for the regions. And I was like, dude, I don't even know enough to fake it. I truly, honestly have zero. I can't do that. Can't even do enough.
You're gonna win
the
bracket. That's the part you got to feel the most confident about. It's like
because UConn's gonna go back to back. Danny Hurley.
I disagree with that, but we'll get that.
Okay. Jordan, national championship. Who are you picking?
I'm actually with you. I have Tennessee and UConn, and I have Tennessee for the absolute upset.
All right. That's where we differ. That's not. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Niko, your GCU Lopes don't win the national title?
No, we make it to the Sweet 16 and make it. That's all I can hope for. All right, I just want to win one game. I have UConn Arizona UConn Arizona against each other, and I have Kentucky Tennessee. I have UConn and Kentucky. I picked UConn. I hate it. I hate picking teams back to back. I hate picking teams that won conference championships. It goes against every single rule in the book that I've written down. But if I'm picking the best team in the country, it's the UConn Huskies. And look, if I am trying to get a perfect bracket, it's trying to get to UConn. And I will put this out as a service reminder. If you have not submitted a bracket yet, first of all, what have you been doing the last couple of days? Why are you not a degenerate like me? Secondly, do not pick UConn. If you are trying to win anything, win money, win whatever, go without a different pick. Because like I said, 25% of the brackets will be on UConn. If you hit on a Kentucky,
they're going to be out in the first day. That's what you're telling me.
You're going to win a lot more money. Is all I'm going to say. Is the money should not be thrown at UConn. But like I said, I want to win money, and I don't want to win money. I want to try to get as much of a perfect bracket as possible. And with Tristan Tristan Newton, Donovan Clingan, best player in the Big East, and obviously Cam Spencer from Rutgers. This team retooled. This team retooled perfectly, and I just have all the faith in the world in them. And like I said, in Kentucky on the other side, it's the Calipari. It's make or break year because they have had some bad upsets in the first round the last couple of years. It could be you don't make it to the second weekend. See ya later. You're out of here. And that's weird to say, Coach Calipari, but Kentucky has not performed with some very, very good teams. So, like I said, I think Calipari gets a monkey off his back. I think he finally gets back to the Final Four. I just think they fell short. And I would say UConn over Kentucky in the final.
All right, Darren, your last one. National championship pick. Who do you got?
I got Marquette versus Arizona, and I got Marquette winning the whole thing. That's what I have.
Two seeds.
I like
two,
that.
2 seeds in the
I
final.
like that.
I like the Golden Eagles and the 2 seed. I think.
Darren, that fucking kills me.
Yeah, well, it makes me feel good that Tyler would come up second place in both championships there a little bit. A little shout out.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. But my ex's family is like all Marquette fans. I did last year's March Madness show behind with a Dwayne Wade Marquette jersey behind me. It kills me. I can't have them do that this year, Darren. I remember
I remember being at golf at fairground. Marquette they beat Kentucky with Keith Bogans. It's like, well, yeah. Now looking at it 20 years later, it's like, well, yeah, they had Dwayne Wade, they had Keith Bogans. Like, of course they beat him. But back then, it's like the college teams. You're like, it's so funny looking back at it back in the day, like those things. But I like Marquette. I've liked them the whole year. The guard Cole I love his pace of play. It's unreal. His competitiveness is off the charts. And Cam Jones can get hotter than anybody in the league from an NCAA from 3. So and Shaka, how do you go get? He's a good coach. I'm going Marquette. So that's what I got.
Kolek is a hell of a player. I just don't know. Look, they have been very, very hush hush about everything that's been going on with him. Why hasn't been playing? It was grades first. It was some sort of scandal with the school or something. Like there's been a lot of just random shit.
No, you're right.
Scenes that just makes me so hesitant, but I cannot deny that.
Make an omelet without cracking a few eggs.
And yeah, especially with how good Marquette is at full strength, I don't hate that at all. And Tennessee picks, like I said, I'm in love with Dalton Connect and what that team does. I don't hate either of those championship picks. Yeah.
All right. Well, we all have somebody different, so it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I'll make sure to clip this whenever something happens. When UConn loses in the first round, I'll make myself look totally dumb, just like I've already done for the last hour and a half that everybody's been watching. But I do appreciate you two gentlemen for joining us tonight. It's a big help. I know that Niko, he did a great job, but we wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to keep his voice for the entire time. So I appreciate Darren from Fat Boy Fadeaway and Jordan, Ohio Sports Talk, Talking the Gridiron on Variety Sports Network. You guys were a big help, and it's awesome to have people that we can just kind of reach out to. It was day before, and both of you said, yeah, that'll work just fine. So I appreciate that. Darren, tell us where we can listen to your stuff. What are we working on? Because you're not only, you're going to be on Talking the Gridiron, obviously, coming up Sunday, so we'll talk more some off-season stuff, but you're on the Double Double podcast. You have the Fat Boy Fadeaway show. So what are you working on here coming up that we can be looking forward to?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. Like I said, the part of the reason we joined Variety Sports Network was you and Niko. So me and Tyler always shout you guys out. We always just kind of appreciate your guys' energy, effort you guys bring. So anytime I can help out and be on a show that help, and obviously obviously we've done shows now for a couple of years, so it's an honor to be kind of back on your guys' shows. Specifically, one of the best intros in the business. So I look forward to your interview you have coming up.
I sent everybody in this studio so we can. You guys, I tried to put it. It's too long to fit in the StreamYard. I was maybe going to add it as a part of this show. There's a clip coming out on Friday. I've sent it to everybody that's in this studio. It's a cool moment, and that whole interview. I just got done with that today. So we're talking about the interview that we're dropping on Monday with Warren Garrett. That's the voice behind the intro that Niko and I have had for the last 2.5 years. And here's the crazy thing. He's such a down-to-earth guy. He remembered me from all the shows that he's done 2 years ago, drunk at Vegas. Oh, you did such a good job of Friends in Low Places. That was so awesome. He's like, I've been watching your podcast, guys. Like, I see you guys doing. It's basically the same process at Warren Garrett on Monday. When the clip drops on Friday, you guys are going to be super excited. We're making you wait until Monday. I think it's going to work out, but he's got a new song that's out too. So we not only get him to do an acoustic version of his first single, we're using his new song, Let It Go, which I'll throw that up here on the screen because why not? Why not? Let Me Go is out on all platforms. It's a killer song. If you're a country music fan, Warren Garrett, WarrenGarrettMusic.com, go check it out. Jordan, what do you got coming up? Ohio Sports Talk. I know that the Bengals just made. We have the biggest fucking tackles in the entire NFL. 6'7", 6'4", 348, and 370, whatever the hell Trent Brown is, because he's overweight. But hey, just
well,
what do you guys got coming up?
Four of our 5 offensive linemen are Super Bowl champions now, so that's something to keep in the back of our minds. But we got some Reds baseball coming up. We got Guardians baseball coming up. Reds opening day now in 10 days away and counting. So we'll have a lot of coverage of that. We covered some of the first 4, which is held right here in Dayton, around the area Douglas and I live. And we'll definitely be getting ready for some draft talk. So that's right around the corner as well. So full scale sports, full steam ahead. So
this show is coming out. Fat Boy Fadeaway. You guys come out normally Sundays, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Ohio Sports Talk Mondays. Niko and I will be back again next week. We'll figure out a day. We'll probably do a recorded show, but we'll be talking everything that happened March Madness. I'll probably do a little segment to break down the wrestling tournament. But we'll have plenty of stuff coming up. And then obviously Monday, that's the big day. We're dropping our interview. But there's tons of content. You can go back if you're looking forward to the wrestling tournament. I did that episode last night with Hunter. I'm trying to do. We're at like a stage in the show. It feels like where everybody just jump on board. Follow the show at FEOTB Pod, at Fatboy Fadeaway, at Ohio Sports Talk, at Variety_Sports_. It helps. Subscribe to the channels, like the videos, leave comments. We are all here to interact with each other. That's why the 4 of us get along so well, because we can just talk about whatever we have on our minds. Whatever opinion we have, let's throw it out there. Let's hash it out. We'll do the same thing with everybody on social media. So don't be hesitant. Don't be shy. Reach out. That's what we're here for. That's what Variety Sports Network is known for. We will go back and forth with everybody. But there's great things coming from all around the network, and Niko and I are super excited. Niko, it's great to have you back. We're glad that you're able to, it's a difficult surgery. I was lucky enough. I had it when I was 4, so I really don't remember my recovery from getting my tonsils removed. But as an adult, I've heard it's one of the worst that you have to come back from. You said day 3 and 4 was probably the hardest that you had to go through.
I was gonna go kill my doctor because of how bad it hurt. Like I was ready to go have them put it back in my throat, but yeah, there was the biggest tonsils the doctor has ever seen. The tonsils did not fit in one container. They had to put 2 separate containers for each one. So how big they were. And and I still can't breathe through my nose. So it's the first of 2 surgeries that I'll have to do, unfortunately. But hey, I can breathe better. So that's all that matters. I don't know how
I told these 2 guys there's
it's Jimmy's
90% blockage
broken is all right. The other person on the show. So the throat part.
Just say, hey, these 2 guys will run at each other as hard as they can.
Yeah, pause on what I'm about to say, but the throat part wasn't Jimmy's fault. The nose part definitely was.
I'm the reason you need a nose job.
That could be taken so many ways, but the Marine in me is just going to be quiet.
It's midnight. You can say whatever now. Your time. You can say whatever.
Yeah.
Midnight Montgomery.
I'm super happy that we were able to do this. I'm glad that you guys were able to jump on.
Thank you for having me on.
Niko's back. Be sure to check out these guys' shows. Be sure to check out our stuff that's coming out. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, follow at FEOTB Pod, at Fatboy Fadeaway, at Jordan Maxon 2, at Variety_Sports_ at all of that great stuff. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, Niko Bryant, our special guest, Darian Breyer, and Jordan Maxon from Variety Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Lopes up.
Go Lopes. Lopes up. Lopes up, baby. Lopes up. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.